So today I'm in Alabama, headed to Hawk Pride Off-Road to meet up with Ricky Berry as he tries to prepare for RBD. I think he was going to scope out some new trails and find where they're going to do the Barbie Jeep race this year. So I'm going to take a ride with Ricky in his Jeep, ride around the park, and talk about RBD and Ricky Berry in general. Y'all check it out. All right, guys, so here we are at RBD, riding around with Ricky Berry in the RCV Jeep. And for you guys that don't know Ricky has really been one of the icons of off-road, whether it be mainly in the Jeep world, but he has slowly been moving over into the Razors. But Ricky, tell everybody about RBD. Back from the beginning, how did it start? When did it start? How many years are we into it now? And talk about this year's event too.
So I've been four-wheeling for as long as I can remember. This is going to be the 13th RBD that I've done. RBD started in 2011. I had this idea. I was involved in the industry. I was very fortunate to make some pretty good friends with people like Wide Open Design, Coalworks back in the day. So 2007, I got this idea to do a birthday ride for myself. I'm going to invite all my buddies, and we're going to go ride at Morris Mountain, and it's going to be a big old time for the weekend. So I handed out invitations. It was invite only, and one thing led to another. We ended up having a really good first year. 2007 was also the birth of Barbie Jeep racing, if you've ever heard of that. We had a bunch of guys come down from Kansas and initiated that whole thing. So
never experienced it, but have watched a couple of them.
Well, it's kind of grown now. But anyway, so first year was a success. We did it for a couple more years, invite only. And in 2011, I was working at Blue Torch Fab at the time. And I got with those guys, and they were like, you should do a hill climb. Okay, yeah. So we did a hill climb with rock bouncers. We opened it up to the public. So anybody could come. We published it online. We promoted it. And we had about 1,300 people show up in 2011. The first hill climb, it was kind of like the first of its time. It was before SRS. SRS didn't come until 2012. So it was really kind of a big moment, at least for me, to be involved in the hill climb, promotion, all that stuff. And so years went on, the hill climb stuff, competitions got busier, competitions got more frequent. SRS was happening, so then we threw it back. I guess 2015, 2016, we just made it trail ride only, and it's kind of just been going from there.
Well, that's awesome. So this year is what year? How many did you say this will be this year?
This will be 13.
This will be the 13th RBD, and for you guys, that's actually Ricky Berry's birthday, or it's the celebration of Ricky Berry's birthday. And actually, how old are you going to be this year?
I'm going to be 30, so almost dead.
That makes me feel great. Because I'm 32.
Yeah.
Not 32. I'm 30 also. Yeah. So anyway, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in the off-road world, and how that's moved. Because now you are marketing for RCV performance products, but how did you start in the whole off-road industry and get to where you are today?
Man, I've been doing this as long as I can remember. I'd say my dad got me into this when I was, I don't know, had to been like 4 or 5 years old. You know, he would take me out in his 1980 carbureted CJ5 4-cylinder, and you know, I kind of just loved off-roading, loved everything Jeep, loved everything like that. So when I got old enough to drive, I got really involved in off-roading. But before that, I'd say I was maybe 12, started picking up a camera, and we did club rides. So me and my dad would go out, and we were members of the Central Alabama Off-Road Society at the time, and I'd take pictures of every club ride, and that kind of escalated. I posted them on the forums. You know, that was before, I mean, I used Photo Bucket, so that was before social media, that was before YouTube, and I'd get the pictures, hyperlink them to the forum, you know, do a nice little recap. It was basically an article, like, you know, you would see in a magazine, or now that you see, you know, web articles. And that kind of progressed until I got an opportunity to go to Blue Torch Fab in 2006. Dan DeBose, the owner of it, invited me down to take pictures for him and the event. And the event was going to be published on Pirate 4x4, which was like the website. I mean, as a 16-year-old kid, I thought Pirate 4x4 was the ultimate, you know.
For you younger guys that don't know about Pirate 4x4, it's this thing called a forum that seems to slowly be dying off as everybody moves over to social media and Facebook. But Pirate 4x4 does still exist.
Yep.
And
yep. I mean, it was Pirates of the Rubicon, so it was West Coast based, but it was the biggest tech forum. I mean, everybody knew it that was into four-wheeling then. So to be able to be on the website, not just a forum post, but it was like a featured event, was pretty cool. So I did that, and then I got invited by Crawl Magazine to shoot the next day after this Blue Torch event, and I got my magazine break. So I was shooting for Crawl Magazine at 16, 17 years old, and it just kind of blew up from there. I started my own website, Ricky B Photography, started my own social media stuff at that same time, and I've been given some great opportunities, met some amazing people, and been really fortunate to turn what was a hobby when I was 14 years old into a career.
And tell us about, I believe you had said something to me before in a private conversation about getting invited to the Ultimate Adventure, Peterson's Off-Road Ultimate Adventure.
So back in 2013, I got invited on my first Ultimate Adventure, which Ultimate Adventure for me, so again, I'm an enthusiast first. I care about this. This is my hobby, this is my sport, I love it. So being invited to the Ultimate Adventure is kind of a bucket list item for me. You know, I've read about it in the magazine since I was a kid. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I was actually invited to go as a photographer. I worked for Peterson's 4-Wheel Off-Road as a freelancer. I got to experience the event, and got to meet some incredible, influential people in the industry, build relationships, and all while doing what I love. So, I mean, from there, I got invited to go to my first King of the Hammers with, I forget if I went for Peterson's. It was kind of a wide open designs and Peterson's, and I kind of was fortunate enough to be invited by a few different people to go out there. I experienced my first KO8 shortly after my first Ultimate Adventure. So, I mean, these are all bucket list items for me, all because I was able to be in the right place at the right time with the camera and kind of promote the sport through media.
And how did that set you up in the future to where now you work for RCV?
So, being involved in this industry so deep, I was at all these events and rock bouncing as it came up. I mean, the Ricky B Photography thing, and I'd say Mad Ram 11, we were the first media at rock bouncing. So I was really tied in deep with those guys as Southern Rock Racing gained popularity. And I found myself on the hillside during a race talking to a marketing guy that owned a marketing firm in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. So this guy,
Roll Tide.
This guy started talking to me, asked me when I was graduating college and stuff like that, and he showed a real interest in what I was doing, and I guess he kept up on social media, found out when I graduated, and offered me a job in marketing. So after some negotiations, I was like, yeah, I'll try this marketing thing. He wanted to start a motorsports division, and we did this motorsports, navigation motorsports advertising or something like that, where I was able to pull in clients that I wanted to work with. So I pulled in Wide Open Design. I pulled in a diesel company called RLC Motorsports, just doing marketing stuff for them. And I also pulled in RCV Performance that I had a previous relationship with through racing. So that kind of went on a little bit for, I'd say, probably 2 years, worked for them. And then they got to the point where they were like, hey, just come work for us direct. So, I mean, it's really kind of a dream job for me. I really like the industry. The RCV product is something that I believe in. You know, I'm not selling Chinese junk, you know, trying to convince people that it's good. It's truly good. I believe in it. So, I mean, it's a really rewarding job.
And as you know, I believe in it too.
I appreciate
that.
that.
I run RCV in all of my machines.
So,
and if you guys don't, we're not riding down the interstate right now. We're actually out at Hawk Pride. That's why I can't figure out. I tried to figure out why I'm shaking so much more than Ricky, and realized I'm usually holding a steering wheel.
Yeah.
So it's a little different being on the passenger seat. But I will say this: I'm usually holding the steering wheel on a Razor, and this having air conditioning is really, really, really nice. Which is one of the reasons I requested that we do this in Ricky's Jeep and not in my Razor.
Well, you know, if you get too cold, you can turn your seat heater on.
Oh.
And, you know, kind of.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not a bad rig, but.
So yeah, we're out here cruising around in Hawk Pride. Ricky's out here scoping the official RBD trail system for RBD 2019. And also we are in search of the Barbie Jeep hill. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about too, because the first time I ever saw Barbie Jeep racing was at RBD. Now I see it nationwide, just people doing it everywhere. And that was one of the things I wanted to ask you, Ricky, because I know you have a hand in the growth of Barbie Jeep racing. Where did Barbie Jeep racing start from?
So there's this guy named Paul Beatty and John Norris. They were part of the Central Alabama Off-Road Society when I was young, and these guys got the bright idea one night at Grey Rock, when Grey Rock was open. You can't ride after dark, so what else can you do after dark? Well, you just hang around the campsites, you know, have yourself a little camp party. Well, they were camping near Bunny Slope 1. Bunny Slope 1 is just a steep downhill dirt hill at the time, and they got the bright idea to hop into Power Wheels Jeeps and race to the bottom. Well, they had the motors in them at the time, so they learned that you got to take a big old hammer and knock the motors out so they would freewheel, and they raced down it. This was 2006 or so, and I'd say, to my recollection, that is the first official time that Barbie Jeeps went downhill. But we took that idea, or actually I guess Paul took that idea, and at the first ever RBD in 2007, we roped off a course, we got takers, everybody brought their Power Wheels, they knocked the motors off of it, and we raced downhill with like legit bracket system racing. So I am proud to say that official Barbie Jeep racing started at RBD, thanks to Paul and John for their crazy idea one night at Grey Rock.
And I think most of you guys have probably seen Barbie Jeep racing, but if you're not, you can always go to YouTube, type in Barbie Jeep racing. You're going to see tons of videos on it, but the majority of those videos are going to be at RBD. I mean, it's some crazy stuff for sure. I'm too old and fragile to participate in RBD. I mean, in Barbie Jeep racing, not in RBD, because I love RBD's one of my favorite events of the year, because it's really just a big gathering of friends, come hang out, celebrate Ricky's birthday, and just do some fun wheeling. But one of the guys seems to stand out more than others with Barbie Jeep racing, and he's actually in front of us right now, riding around in his Razor.
Probably a little smoother in there.
Yeah, but not as cool.
Yeah.
The climate control in the Jeep is superior. So tell us a little bit about the gentleman that's in front of us, and seems to be his track record with RBD.
So when we did this whole Barbie Jeep racing thing, it's pretty rough on yourself, and you got to be kind of a thrill seeker to want to do it. And Matt Myrick, Busted Knuckle Films, decided, I don't know if he filmed it a couple of times, then decided to race it, or just went fully committed. But he is just good at it. I mean, I hate to say it, you'd think it's a controlled crash, but the guy actually does pretty well consistently. So he is the running champion of RBD Barbie Jeep racing.
I will say it's amazing to watch him. He drags his feet and turns the wheel, and it all just seems to work right.
Yeah. I mean, the spirit of Barbie Jeep racing is just, who can crash at the bottom of the hill the fastest. But, now that he's actually brought some skill involved into it, it's pretty impressive to watch. Follow it. So, next thing you know, people will be wearing visors again, like it's 1999.
He's cracking on my hat, man. I love visors.
One thing that I love about RBD that I lost, so I had to move it. I had to move RBD from Morris Mountain after 9 or 10 years. I just outgrew the place, so I moved it to
that was a tight spot.
Yeah, it was 400 trail acres. It really wasn't that much to work with, and we had 1,000 people. So I moved it to Busted Knuckle Off-Road, which I thought was going to be a great home for it. Unfortunately, Busted Knuckle Off-Road Park did not last. We only could have it there for 1 year. So then I moved it here to Hawk Pride last year, and I'm doing it again this year here. But the vibe, the feel of RBD, it was so important to me that it was almost like a family reunion. I mean, everybody would come from all over the country. I mean, we had California, we had Canada, we had Florida, we had Kansas, and that would be their one trip to go see all their friends. They would make friends. We had Louisiana. Man, these guys, the crazy Cajuns from Louisiana, they would come and camp, and they would cook a big 55-gallon of jambalaya, or a pastelaye, as they called it, actually. And, you're camped so close quarters with everybody, with so many people there, so you just get to make friends. And, you see those same friends year after year. So that's something I'm hoping that I can recreate here, now that we're kind of settled. This is our second year here. Because it's that sense of, I don't know, unity, if you will. I don't know. That's kind of a cheesy way to put it, but...
Well, I mean, the whole thing to me is like, it's a bunch of friends getting together, coming out and having a good wheeling trip. And, RBD to me, which, my first year at RBD was 12, whatever $80 hill was.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty awesome experience for me to see what goes on. But it to me, it is more of the old school rock crawlers that attend more than anything. I mean, that's the feel that I get. It makes me wish I still had the old Mizuki.
Yeah.
To where I could come out and do a little bit of rock crawling, because I got rid of things. One of the reasons why I got rid of my rock crawling is it seemed that rock crawling died off and it was going to rock bouncing.
Well,
and that just wasn't my cup of tea.
And that's just what you see in the campers. That's what the media covers. That's the cool thing, because there's still guys out there with their $5,000 trail rigs on Dana 44s and 38s. That's still a thing, and those guys have just as much fun as the guy with a $100,000 bouncer. I mean, if not more, honestly.
Oh, it's like following Johnson Valley Crawlers on Instagram, watching all those guys get together. That's the old school rock crawling that I used to love, that seemed in my area to fade away.
And it definitely, depending on where you are, what fad has hit, right now, razors and bouncers, that's your things, and you can take a rock bouncer and trail ride and have a great time. You can take a razor and trail ride and have a great time. It's just it's the vibe, it's the feel, and that's what I'm hoping that this event will kind of maintain.
Now, didn't you tell me one time, you're talking about people coming, like the guys from Louisiana, didn't you tell me before about some like overseas guys?
Yeah, so
showing up.
One year we had a guy come. He asked me how early he could get there, and I was like, I'll be there Wednesday, because I got to set up for the event. And okay, so Wednesday night they were there and they were camping. I think they were from France, and they were on their way to just explore the U.S. events, and RBD was one of their stops. I mean, it was really humbling.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Like
that they heard of it.
Well,
coming from France.
And I attribute that thanks to my good friends Mad Ram 11 and Busted Knuckle for promoting what I love, but you know, they put it. I mean, a list of things they wanted to see in the U.S. RBD, KOH. I mean, to be even in the same running as KOH was kind of crazy to me, but it's a different world, you know. Like, I mean,
when we get to 50,000 people showing up at RBD, I'm out.
Yeah, that'll stress me out just a little bit. You know, now I understand why Dave Cole's so stressed all the time. Poor guy. But no, it's pretty humbling to see people travel to experience RBD. You know, because it has. I mean, it's my birthday party at the end of the day. You know, it's something that I created to have fun with my friends.
Well, it's one of those things. It's one of those events that I think that you know, people look forward to all year, and that, you know, it's like, this is the one I'm not going to miss, no matter what's going on. I mean, when you consider it is the day after Thanksgiving, and you know, like even me myself last year, you know, I came to RBD. You know, we did Thanksgiving on Thursday. Still had some, you know, in-law Thanksgiving, all that, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna run to RBD.
I got a buddy of mine, Eric Hagan. I posted up. I was just trying to I have a little idea for a giveaway, and I wanted to see people's, you know, what was the earliest they went to RBD, and how many years in a row they've done RBD.
Yeah.
And one of these guys, Eric Hagan, posted up something like, "Well, I've missed 9 Thanksgivings with the family, so 9." Like, well, that's pretty. I mean, that's, you know, you're off work, you're out of school, you know, it's a holiday weekend, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. You got the time to go do it, but, you know, family obligations should come first. I appreciate the people that do join us for a Thanksgiving. Hell, I got people cooking Thanksgiving dinners, full Thanksgiving dinners with turkey and all at RBD.
Yeah, well, I wonder, have we ever had a divorce caused by RBD?
Oh no, only love.
Has any woman ever had, or man, had, you know, been fed up? That's it. I'm done. If you go to RBD one more Thanksgiving, this is over.
I'd like to think not. In fact, there's some wives that have encouraged, you know, them to go to RBD. I have this the South Carolina crew that I love, and they've been coming for years. They missed last year, I think, and I think they're coming again this year. And it's like they celebrate their Thanksgiving at RBD as a family.